All right, what's up, guys? Today is going to be the fifth installment of the How to Train Your Grandma series. Today we're going to be talking about pulling movements. Now, some people would consider a deadlift a pulling motion since we are pulling the bar up from the floor. And while this does have some validity to it, when I approach putting together programs or exercise selection for my clients, typically deadlifts for me fall with where I'm going to place my hinge patterns or in my hinge focus for that day. So today we encompass pulling movements. We're going to be talking about things like rows and pull downs where we're directly bringing our elbow behind the midline of our body. Why we want to prioritize these workouts or these exercises specifically is simply because we want to build the musculature of the back muscles up. This aids with things like posture, stability, overall strength, things of that nature. There are many different variations and many different ways this can be accomplished, but know that this needs to take place in your program or your exercise selection at least once, if not twice or more per week, because the back is typically neglected. It's often weak, underdeveloped, and so it needs to be developed and prioritized. What are you doing, Sticky boy? Come here. It needs to be prioritized and developed because it's a very paramount muscle group, in my opinion, that can't be neglected and can't be left too weak. Say hi to the big boy. Say hi to the camera. Okay, can you lay down? All right, so one of the first things that we can do, and these are all things that I typically like to do. Barbell rows are another great thing, but again, I'm not looking to put a ton of pressure on the low back, and so these are definitely variations that I choose when I'm approaching my rows or my pulling variations per se. So the first one would just be a simple like seated row. You can do a wide grip, you can do a close grip, any cable attachment you have will work. Another thing that we can implement is a simple lat pull down. Again, anything that we're bringing the elbows behind our body. This is a great option as well. I would like pull-ups, but a lot of people tend to struggle with pull-ups. And again, if our focus is simply to build the musculature of our back, if we can't get sufficient movement or contractions with a pull-up, an assisted pull-up would be a good option, but again, all of these are going to be really solid options as well. Another thing that I really like are inverted rows. Again, these can be scaled accordingly, similar to the barbell push-ups that I talked about in the pressing video, because we can raise this up and kind of meet them where they're at, scalability-wise. But again, a simple inverted row, climbing under the bar, and again, just pulling ourselves up. This is a really good one as well because it's going to utilize their body weight and space. So they're going to have to learn how to contract their core a little bit more too while they're pulling. So it's going to add a component of core strengthening into that as well. Another option that we can utilize, over here please, is TRXs. I do really like these. Very, very similar to a barbell inverted row. To me, this is just going to put a little bit more stability or force the shoulders and the upper back to be a little bit more stable because the barbell is in a fixed position. These have their own individual freedom of motion. So simply just lean back, pulling ourselves up. Not much different than a barbell. But again, these just have a little bit of freedom of motion on their own. So we can kind of mess with the angles that we have our wrists. So we can point them neutral, point them straight like a barbell. We can turn them and twist as we're pulling as well. So while we could use a football bar for neutral grip inverted rows, the TRXs just give us a little bit more freedom to explore different ranges of motion, different ways to perform the rows. And again, it's just a little bit more of a challenge because the shoulders are going to be forced to stabilize the handles, and the core has got to be brought into it as well. So these are all the variations that I like to utilize when I am trying to decide on what I want to do for pulling exercises. And so, like I said, things like barbell rows have a really good place. Things like pull-ups are also really beneficial as well. But again, not looking to tax the lower back too much, and I'm not looking for things that are going to really require a ton of coordination like a pull-up. I'm really just trying to look to build the strength and the muscular endurance of the back muscles. And so these are typically my go-to exercises for those exercise selections.